In the heart of Arizona, where the land is painted in hues of red and gold, a young boy named Kai was growing up in a small village nestled between towering mesas. Kai was 12 years old, with his mother's piercing blue eyes and his father's deep brown skin. His mother, who had roots in a small town far from the desert, was gentle and nurturing. His father, a proud Navajo man, was strong and wise, known throughout the village as an excellent hunter. Kai had always been fascinated by his father's stories of the old ways, of how their ancestors lived in harmony with the land, understanding its secrets and respecting its power. He would listen intently as his father spoke of the sacred animals, the great spirits, and the importance of balance in nature. One day, as the summer sun blazed overhead, Kai's father decided it was time for his son to take the first steps toward becoming a hunter. He handed Kai a bow made from the sturdy wood of the juniper tree, and a quiver full of arrows tipped with sharp obsidian. "Today you begin your journey," his father said, his voice firm but kind. "But remember, hunting is not just about skill. It's about understanding the world around you, respecting the animals, and knowing when to let go." Arizona desert was alive with the soft whispers of the wind, carrying with it the scent of sagebrush and the distant song of a coyote. Kai crouched low to the ground, his blue eyes scanning the horizon. His father had taught him to listen to the land, to hear its stories. Today the desert was telling him something new. After hours of trekking, they came upon a clearing where the ground was soft with sand and the air was thick with silence. His father pointed to a deer grazing near a cluster of mesquite trees. It was a young buck, strong and healthy. "Kai!" his father called from behind, his voice a deep rumble. "What do you see?" Kai pointed to a set of tracks barely visible in the sand. "Elk," he said confidently. "A big one." His father nodded in approval. "Good. But this one is different. Can you feel it?" Kai frowned, trying to understand. He closed his eyes and let the wind brush against his face, let the earth beneath him pulse with life. There was something, a presence, something ancient and powerful. "It's not just any elk," his father continued. "It's the Spirit Elk, a creature of legend. Many hunters have sought it, but none have ever brought it down." Kai's heart skipped a beat. The Spirit Elk was said to be blessed by the spirits of the land, a protector of the wilderness. It was a symbol of the harmony between man and nature, and capturing it was a challenge that could make a boy into a man. "Are we going after it?" Kai asked, a mixture of excitement and fear in his voice. His father smiled, a rare thing that softened his stern features. "Yes, but this is your hunt, Kai. The spirits have chosen you. You must prove yourself." Kai's hand tightened around his bow. He had been training for this his entire life, but this was something more. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders, but with it came a surge of determination. "I won't let you down," Kai promised. The hunt took them deeper into the desert than Kai had ever gone before. The landscape changed from the familiar sands and cacti to rocky outcrops and towering cliffs. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the air shimmered with heat. Kai's father was a silent guide, pointing out signs that only a skilled tracker could see. A broken branch here, a disturbed patch of earth there. Kai followed, his senses sharp, but as they ventured further, the tracks became harder to follow. As dusk approached, they came to a narrow canyon. The wind howled through it like a mournful spirit, and the shadows grew long and menacing. "We camp here tonight," his father said, setting down his pack. "The Spirit Elk is close, but we must rest. The desert tests those who seek its treasures." Kai nodded, though his heart was still pounding with the thrill of the chase. They built a small fire, and as the flames danced, his father told stories of their ancestors, of the great hunts and the lessons they learned from the land. But Kai's mind was elsewhere. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that something was out there, just beyond the firelight. His father noticed his unease and placed a hand on his shoulder. "The desert is alive, Kai. Respect it, and it will guide you." That night, Kai dreamed of the Spirit Elk. It was a magnificent creature, its antlers gleaming like silver in the moonlight, its eyes wise and knowing. It beckoned him, leading him through the desert, but every time he got close, it vanished like a mirage. When he woke, the sun was just beginning to rise, casting the canyon in a warm golden light. His father was already awake, preparing for the day ahead. "Today is the day, Kai," he said. "Are you ready?" Kai took a deep breath and nodded. Yes. The Spirit Elk, the canyon led them to a vast plateau, where the desert spread out in all directions. The air was still, heavy with anticipation. Kai's senses were on high alert, every sound, every movement captured by his keen eyes and ears. And then he saw it. The Spirit Elk stood on the edge of the plateau, its body shimmering with an ethereal glow. It was larger than any elk Kai had ever seen, its coat a deep, rich brown with streaks of silver. Its antlers were like branches of a sacred tree, reaching towards the sky. Kai's breath caught in his throat. This was the moment he had been preparing for, but now, faced with the creature of legend, doubt crept in. Could he really do this? Could he take down something so majestic? His father stood back, letting Kai take the lead. This was his challenge, his rite of passage. Kai knocked an arrow and took aim, his hand steady despite the fear coursing through him. He focused on the elk's heart, where he knew the kill would be swift and merciful. But as he prepared to release the arrow, the elk turned its gaze towards him. In that moment their eyes locked, and Kai felt a connection, a bond that transcended words. The elk's eyes were full of wisdom and sadness, as if it understood the burden Kai carried. And then Kai knew. He couldn't do it. Lowering his bow, Kai took a step forward, his heart pounding. The elk watched him, unmoving, as if waiting for his decision. "I can't kill you," Kai whispered, his voice trembling. "You're a part of this land, just like me. I can't take that away." The Spirit Elk seemed to understand. It bowed its head slightly, a gesture of respect and acknowledgement. Then, without a sound, it turned and vanished into the desert, leaving Kai standing alone on the plateau. When Kai returned to his father, he expected disappointment, perhaps even anger. But instead his father smiled, a look of pride in his eyes. "You made the right choice," he said. "The Spirit Elk is not meant to be taken. It's a test, not of your skill as a hunter, but of your heart. You proved that you understand the balance of the land, that you respect it. That is the true mark of a hunter." Kai felt a wave of relief and pride. He had passed the test, not by taking the life of the Spirit Elk, but by letting it live. The desert had taught him a valuable lesson, one that he would carry with him for the rest of his life. As they made their way back home, Kai felt different. He was still the same boy who had set out on this journey, but now he carried with him the wisdom of the land, the knowledge that being a hunter was not just about the kill, but about understanding and respecting the world around him. The desert was still, but Kai knew it was alive, watching, waiting for the next hunter to test their heart. And he was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Years later, Kai would become a legend in his own right, a hunter who walked in harmony with the land. He never spoke of the Spirit Elk to others, keeping the memory of that day close to his heart. But whenever he ventured into the desert, he would sometimes catch a glimpse of a silver antler or hear the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, and he would smile, knowing that the Spirit Elk was still out there, watching over the land. Kai's story became one of the many that the desert whispered to those who would listen, a tale of respect, understanding, and the true meaning of being a hunter. Thus, the legend of Kai, the boy who spared the Spirit Elk, was passed down through generations. It served as a timeless reminder that true strength is found not in taking, but in understanding and respect.